Hi Year 3, hope you're all okay. Welcome to today's English lesson. It's Thursday the 4th of March. Okay, so what today is to know that similes describe something by comparing it to something else. So we're going to do that. It's new learning is practice, as that is something that we haven't covered in Year 3 yet. And why? So that we can include similes in our setting description, okay? Because obviously if we're using them to describe something, it will help with our setting description. Okay, so here is a little sheet about similes. So a simile is something when you compare two different things and you show a similarity. Okay, so you compare two different things to show a similarity between those two things. So for example, we have got, she was as busy as a bee. So this is comparing the girl, the she, to a bee because they were busy. She ate like a bird. So it's saying someone ate like a bird. He slept like a log, and he was as cunning as a fox. So I have underlined within these similes the key words that we use when we are writing similes, when we are using similes. So one of those is like, and one of those is as. Okay, so in this space here, you would say what they are similar to. So this one, it's cunning as a fox, and this one, it is as busy as a bee. Okay, let's have a look at our next slide. So I went through our book and I had a look in each of the chapters that we have written so far about the similes that they have used. And we can see that actually within each chapter, they've probably only used one or two similes. So it means that when we are writing our setting description, we don't have to put lots of similes into it. We could just use one or two and that would be fine. So I have gone through, so chapter 1 was Pan's voice was like mossy bark on ancient trees. So this is comparing Pan's voice to mossy bark. Pan stomped over her butt like a charging bull. So this is comparing Pan to a charging bull. Chapter 2, as they got nearer to the long, tall building, a stink like a mixture of centuries-old fish and 1,000 years of ancient poo filled Demon's nostrils. So this is comparing the stink to old fish. Okay, and chapter 3, it was as tall as a donkey with a rough tawny coat and a sharp curved beak that looked as if it could crack rocks. So this is when he was describing the griffin in the stable, the one that actually scratched Demon, and it was comparing the griffin being as tall as a donkey, because obviously if the body is a lion but the head and the wings of an eagle, you expect eagles to be little, but obviously this was quite tall, so it was like a donkey. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh, going back to this, we can see that these similes, they have used like, or they have used as, okay? So here we've got like, I've underlined those in the sentences, and we can see here it's as tall as, okay, to make that comparison. So when we use like, it's saying it's like something, and as tall as is making our comparison that way. Okay, so yesterday we were looking at our senses. So we were using our senses. So it was what could we see, what could we hear, what could we touch, what could we feel, and what could we smell. So when we are describing these, we could use similes in order to make our descriptions of these clearer. So I have, if I just pull this down like this, I can see that I have gone through. So if we are using as, we might say as tall as. So it could be as tall as a giraffe. As big as a giant. As loud as, could be as loud as a firework. As sharp as, it could be as sharp as a knife. As cold as, could be as cold as ice. Or as bright as, okay? So it could be as bright as the sun. So we need to check that they make sense, okay? So I wouldn't say something was as tall as a mouse, because I know that mice aren't tall. And if I'm comparing those two things, so I'm looking at their similarities, I know that a mouse isn't tall. So it does need to make sense. So we do need to check that it makes sense, okay? If we are using like as our comparison, we might say that something feels like something. We might say something smells like something. We might say something looks like something. We might say something eats like something, or we might say something moves like something. Okay, but again, we need to check that it makes sense. Okay, so these are our two words or phrases with this that we would use if we were writing similes. So we might say like, and then make that comparison, or we would say as. So these are good examples of the words that you could use. So you could say tall, big, loud, sharp, cold, right. Okay. Okay, so our first activity that I would like you to do is you're going to use it. You're going to match the noun to the simile. Okay. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to print this sheet out, but I will put it on Dojo so that you can print it out if you like, and then you can just draw your lines to match. If you are unable to do that, then we can write it in our book. That is fine. Okay, so you are going to read it. So Hydra's breath. Okay, so Hydra's breath. Am I going to say Hydra's breath is as tall as a donkey? Well, I can't see Hydra's breath. It's something that I would feel. So I might say Hydra's breath is as cold as ice, because obviously the touch of ice is very cold, so I would know that. So if I had got the sheet and I was printing it out, what I would do is I would draw a line, okay? And then I would move on to the next one. So the next one here is Basilisk's tail. Okay, so I've got to think about that. What did it look like as it was dangling through those bars? Okay, so would I say it is as tall as a donkey? It wasn't tall, it was long. So I know that by checking to see if it makes sense, that doesn't work. Basilisk's tail was like a snake. Okay, so it did look a bit like a snake, the way that it was through those bars. So I might say that's how I would draw a line. Okay, so I'm going to take those off because I would like you to do this. Once you have done all 5 of those, okay, so once you have matched the noun to the simile, what I would like you to do is I would like you to create your own, okay? So, oh, in fact, if I just pause Mrs. Bird there because she's rushing ahead, obviously, if you haven't got the sheet and you want to do it in your book, you will need to write it in your book. So what I will do is I will share a different screen with you and I will just model that in the book. So let me see where I can do this. A new share. I am going to. Okay, so then I can add this and hopefully. Oh, okay, so I can hopefully have them both on there so that I can see them. So here is my book. I'm going to get my pencil and I am going to write the date. So I know that it is Thursday. I was just checking yesterday's date on the other page. Thursday, the 4th of March. So it's not long until we are back in school, which is brilliant. Okay, so if I haven't got the sheet that I can just draw, I can write my first one. So I'm going to write Hydra, tail, oh, Hydra's breath. And I am going to say, okay, that matched to as cold as ice. As nice. I would then move on to my next one. So Basilisk's tail. Okay, and I would say was like a snake. Okay, so If you aren't able to print it out and draw your lines, then you can just write them in your book. That is fine. Okay, and the next thing that we can now move on to is that we can create our own. Okay, so we're not writing them into sentences yet, we're just matching. So I might have a think and I might pick a picture that we were looking at yesterday. So I might pick what would I pick? I might say the griffin claw. So I might, so I'm going to create my own. I might write the griffin's claw. And I know that I can either use as or like. So I might say it was, here I can see as sharp as. So I might say as sharp as a knife. Okay, I might pick another one. Which one am I going to pick this time? When we were reading the book, it was talking about the cattle of the sun. It was talking about how their horns shone and were very bright. So I might write the cattle horns, and then I might write that they might shine like a star. Okay, so once you have done that first part here, and you have matched them up, so I've done it here, I would like you to create your own. Okay, have a go creating your own. When we come to writing our sentence description on Friday, we will be looking back at all of the work we've done, and we will be picking out that in order to write our setting description. So the more that we do now, the easier it will be when we write our setting description on Friday. Okay, year 3, I would really like to see your similes sent to us on Class Dojo Portfolio so that we can have a look at them. And maybe when I am writing my setting description, I will be able to magpie a few and include them in my setting description. Okay, year 3, have a lovely day. We look forward to seeing your work and see you soon. Bye.